Okay, so we have this interesting discussion session on visualizing NTA. I think Lily Varga and Bernardo would like to present some three presentations.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'm Lily Varga from the Hungarian Demographic Research Institute, and then from next semester I will be also a Humboldt Fellow at Humboldt University Berlin. And this is joint work with Bernard. Our motivation was very simple, to make some new visualization of NTA age profiles. That so the motivation was that there are more and more countries now, more and more country results, but usually the cross-country visualizations or figures are not really good to show the real age-specific differences among the countries. So usually we use line graphs, but those are not really good to show the differences. Or we can use many panels, but those are not really good either. Or we can use endless tables about results, but that's probably even worse. So we wanted to come up with a solution, and this is what we came up. This is a two-color heat map, or a heat map type. Now the graph shows a life cycle deficit and surplus by age in 77 countries. It is pretty. So the big advantage of this that we use two colors for the deficit and the surplus. So in red colors there is the deficit, and in blue colors it's the surplus, so the negative deficit. And it really shows very well the different age spans of when people go from deficit to surplus and then back. So we can really see that there are countries where the surplus starts at age 22, and then in all the other, these are Thailand, Philippines, and Gambia, and then in all the other countries it's later ages. For example, in Ghana it's age 34, and we can also see how long the surplus period lasts. So for example, we can see in Thailand, also Sao Tome or Burkina Faso, this is a pretty long age span. For example, in Sao Tome, people till age 65 or 66, they have a surplus, and then again they have a deficit. And the different shades of the red and the blue, they show the different values. So I didn't say, but the values are the NTA, normalized NTA way. So we normalize the values with the average labor income of age 30-49. Maybe I should have also said that the age goes from 0 to 85 plus. So the different shades of the reds and the blues show the different values. The darker shades are the higher values. So for example, again, in Sierra Leone, we can see a really relatively high surplus, as well as in Niger, and also I think pretty much in African countries. And then we can also see the different reds. So for example, there is a really high life cycle deficit for older ages in the United States, or in this is Peru, and in other countries. We can also see the weird cases of El Salvador, or the weirdest case of El Salvador, where at all ages consumption exceeds production, so they don't have a blue color at all. And this is pretty much because of remittances, I think. This is a very similar case in Mexico. So we can also see these exclusive cases. And I also like it in this graph that you can look for your own country and then compare your own country to the others. So I think the age-specific differences come out better on this graph than on the previous graph. The next one is the net public transfers by age in 51 countries. Here again, we can see the different age spans, that there are countries like Senegal, but also Nigeria, where where older people are also net givers of public transfers, so they don't receive but they give. And then we can also see the big differences in countries, like how much public transfers they receive. For example, in Argentina or Brazil, they relatively receive a very high amount of public transfers. Again, the values are normalized using the average labor income of age 30-49. We can see also that in general, older people receive a higher amount of public transfer in almost all the countries, but there are differences. Like in Indonesia, it's relatively very low, as well as in Mozambique. And then maybe so children in general receive less public transfers, but for example, in South Korea, we can see that it's relatively a very high investment in education. The third plot is the net private transfers by age in 48 countries. I wanted to mention I used all the countries I found on the NTA website and on the Agenda website. So there were only 48 countries that had the private transfer profiles. And here too, again, the age spans and the shades are interesting. So in Senegal, not only working ages, but also older people are high givers, or they give a high amount of private transfers. And this is also true for Turkey to some extent. And then also in other cases like the US is also not only the working ages, but also older people give private transfers, as well as in Peru, Mexico, etc. We can also see, this is also what we see on line graphs, that children in general receive a much higher private transfers, but again, we can see country differences here, country differences that are also age specific. And then the last graph that I want to show now is a similar approach of net time transfers by age and gender. So this is different because this is by gender. And now I used hours per day. We used hours per day, and it's striking how much the age-specific net time transfers are for women and men. So women are givers of time, or net givers of time, from very early on. For example, in Ghana and Senegal, already at age 10, they give time. And then also in Germany and Italy, at age 22, they start to give time, and then women are net givers till the end of their life. And this is almost true for every country. While men are net givers only much later, if at all. So we can see the countries that there are no ages for men who are net givers at all. In Ghana, Senegal, India, South Africa, Mauritius, Latvia, and Italy. We can again see the different age spans. So when in Vietnam, men are net givers of time at early ages. In Bulgaria, this is much later, probably because they work a lot in their gardens, I think, and that's why they get to be net givers at these ages. So these plots are made in ggplot in R, and once they are finalized, we are curious about your comments. We will share the code. So we would be happy if anyone will use the graphs, and using the code, it will be pretty easy to make other graphs too, using your own countries. So we will share it with the NTA community once they are finalized. I think this is all. So thank you for your attention, and we are curious about your comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lily and Bernard.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, Lily showed very nicely this NTA, the age-specific pattern, but the data can be also used to illustrate the relationship between the age structure of the population and the total total quantities. And a very nice tool to do so are economic population pyramids. So population pyramids show the number of men and women in each age group, and economic population pyramids shows you economic quantities of men and women in each age group. What you see here, for example, is consumption, the orange part, and total income in Austria. And yeah, you see that income is concentrated as age 20 to 60, and we also see this difference in between consumption and income in childhood and in old age. What these pyramids illustrate very well is the relation with the age structure of the population, because they peak in income at age 40 to or at around age 50 is a result of the people earning a lot at this age, but also because these are the age groups of the baby boomers. So if we add up, in Austria, we had a baby boom in the 1960s, and in 1915, these baby boomers born in the 10 years alone generated about 1/3 of total income in Austria. So the difference between consumption and income in childhood and old age is covered by transfers. There are two important channels. This is the transfers within the family and public transfers. Let's have a look at the transfers within families. So the green area are the contributions, the orange area are the transfers that are received. I call it intra-family transfers, but they are the intra-household transfers, which are mostly transfers within families. And there are mainly two directions, that is from parents to children, but also from man to woman. So these transfers between genders are also a result of transfers to children in the end, because women take care of the children, they stay home, they have lower income, lower pension later in life, and partly they are compensated for by transfers from their partners. So the public transfers, again, the contributions are in green. The orange part are the transfers received. They go in the other direction, from the employed population to the elderly population. And in 2015, about half of total public transfers were received by the population 60 plus. And we can also use this population pyramids to illustrate changes in the population by combining it with population projections. You see what happens with public contributions and public benefits if we change the population structure and let the population age. I show it once more, and I would invite you to focus on this transition from working age to retirement at the age of 60, and see how this relation between total contributions and total public contributions and total benefits changes when these baby boomers enter retirement. Oh, sorry. And yeah, public transfers as well as these private intra-household transfers are mostly from, or to a larger degree, from men, or they are partly from men to women. Men contribute more. It of course looks very different when we look at non-market transfers, these transfers in form of services produced by unpaid work. And there again, two main direction of these transfers. This is from mothers to children. The children in their first years of life are the main consumers of these transfers. And there are also partly transfers from women to men, because women stay at home, they carry out more of the household work, and part of this work are transfers to their partners. Again, we think that these population pyramids are a very useful tool to illustrate the relation between macroeconomic quantities and the age structure of the population. And because population pyramids is something which people understand, they know the concept, and they very, very quickly grasp what you show them, even when they don't have a background in economics or in demography. And I invite you, we have on the European National Transfer Accounts Data Explorer, where we have this NTA data for Europe, we also have a tool for generating such NTA-based economic population pyramids, and I would really like to invite you and try it, and also to generate such economic population pyramids with your own data. So thank you very much. I hope you liked it.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, okay, we do. I did like it actually. We used to have the visualization award, and these two actually, but really, and Bernardo showed is definitely the top candidate, two candidates of this visualization award. So our third candidate is our own Andy Mason. So let me just mimic the directors like a clapboard, like here is clapboard, eyes up. So action.
Hi. Well, we're very pleased to announce the release of a new version of NTA indicators. It's based on World Population Prospects 2019 and the latest estimates of NTA profiles for 70 countries. We've been able to extend the data to have indicators for almost 185 countries around the world. So we have a portal that's been made available to look at these data. It's found on the NTA website under the menu here, indicators. And this is the home page for the support ratio. That's, I think, the most widely used measure that interests people. And so let me just give you a quick tour of this page. So it shows the menu with different variables. Some are grouped under these headings. And then we have a menu where one can select what region of the world you want, or what income group, or individual countries. And there's a slider here that can be used to select the years for which you would like to have the indicator displayed. I'll come back to table view in a minute. So suppose we want to look at the world support ratio. We can click on that, and we get this better view of the data for the world. And you can see both the level of the support ratio, and the bars are the rate of growth of the support ratio. And if we go down, there's some summary statistics, and then values, both the level and the annual rate of change that can be downloaded by anyone. So now, let's go back and look at the table view. So if we go back to key indicators, we can see table view of the different regions of the world. And so this shows a standard tabular formulation. You can also look at the annual rates of growth by clicking that. And again, you can change the range to include more years if you like, and you can select a different group, different particular regions or countries or whatever with this menu. So one of the things that people may find useful here that I thought was pretty neat, this came up with by the UHERO, which is led by Carl Bonham. And so this is the data analyzer. So suppose we just wanted to compare Africa and Asia and, well, let's say Latin America as well, to see how the trends in their support ratio differed. So we hit those little stars, and then we come over to the analyzer, which shows there are 3 series being charted. Now it only shows 2 here. That's the default. If you want the all 3, you go down here and you add Latin America to the chart. And so we can see then the chart on the support ratio for these 3 countries. So there are other features of the website that I hope you'll feel free to explore. One thing that's interesting I might mention is that here you can copy a link that will take you to this particular display. So anyway, congratulations to Michael Abrigo, who worked on this, and Carl Bonham and the people at UHero who worked on the engine for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's clear. You are a good actor, and this is good acting. So
You're a good director.
Congratulations, you are the third candidate for this visualization award.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So before we vote for this visualization award, we'll actually discuss, something about this visualization. So I have some questions. Actually, Ron, you can just unmute yourself and speak about the visualization.
I very much liked those presentations of the life cycle, labor, income, and consumption by Lily and Bernard. Lily presented. I found those very intuitive and easy to grasp. And of course, they'd be even more helpful if I had control of the screen and could do things with it. I wondered why the age divisions in some of the time transfer screens were unequal in terms of the vertical lines. It's no problem, I was just puzzled. They didn't seem to correspond to single years of age or 5 years of age. They seemed to vary across the screen. Nothing important. I also wondered whether there is a way of using this longitudinally for a single country to show changes over time in the the life cycle parameters. At least on the first one, where increasingly now we have time series of NTA cross sections. The second one on the pyramids, I found very interesting, but I found, despite what Bernard said, that we are all used to looking at pyramids, I had a harder time interpreting them, which I think is just a matter of practice. I think if I'd started out looking at the life cycle using pyramids rather than line drawings, then the pyramids would seem a totally natural way to do it, and the line drawings would look weird to me. But so I need to get used to those a little bit and to think about how to put together in my mind the population age distribution with the age profiles. But both of these are very valuable, and I can certainly see using them in my own work, if only I knew how to use your programs effectively. Maybe I'll learn. And then the one Andy and Michael and others have done, wow, that's just so much information, so quickly and easily accessed. I'm very impressed by that, and look forward also to using that to get at the data, and I'm sure there's more there that Andy didn't have time to explore. I do find, I guess that's Tableau, I think, Andy, is that right? Sort of the driving graphical program, or maybe it's something else. But
oh, this isn't Tableau. This is written.
With Tableau, I don't always like the way their graphs look, and so I often find I want to be able to get the data, sort of export it into an Excel sheet or something, and do my own charts based on it, where I have more control over exactly how the charts look. I don't know whether that's possible here. Since you have table view, I imagine it would be possible to export data. Anyway, those are my my thoughts, Saga. I'm sure other people have plenty to say on this as well.
Okay, thank you. We have actually a couple of questions, so probably we can add something. I mean, my only point is that it's really great. I mean, it's congratulations on it. It's a really great way to show this and see this. But I'm using big screen. But if it's like a laptop computer, probably it's hard to read all this country label especially from Lily. When you show it, it's very hard to read in a small screen. So that's one thing. It's visualization. And Gretchen, you have some comment. Do you want to say, or I can just repeat some people's question?
I have lots of construction noise behind me, so I decided I would just type.
I mean, you know, the release chart is very interesting because there is a dark blue peak in your surplus age was quite late in some countries, right? So it's very cool. It stood out. It's, that's actually the benefit, the advantage of using visualization because it stood out, right? So without just using any, language or presentation, PowerPoint. But whether the question is, I mean, this is just a question. Have you actually investigated whether these countries have something in common? Or the dark blue peak surplus age, which is quite late in some countries. Have you actually seen any common things, characteristic of these countries? Bernhard or Lily, anyway.
No, not really. So now the question is about the darker phase and not just the age span, because when the age span starts later, it might be again the remittances. So in Moldova, it starts later because earlier ages also receive the remittances, so their consumption is higher and their production is lower. For the darker, the differences in the shades of the blue, I didn't really pay so much attention, honestly, but this is a very good point that we can also compare those. So now I don't know if shall I share my screen and then you can also see it. That's a possibility, and we'll look at it together, honestly. And I can also actually make it bigger so that we see. So this is Gretchen, that's what you mean, that here it's a little later, also in Chad, and actually Niger has a bimodal distribution to some extent. But I don't know the real reasons, or I didn't really think about it. But it's Nigeria where it seems a little later. I guess it's also the labor market or the labor force. I guess labor market maybe increases at older ages, and it increases slower than, for example, in European countries where it might just get higher earlier. So this is one solution, but
yeah,
probably
that's what I was thinking. Like countries that maybe didn't have pension systems or something, that you just keep working and have a big surplus, even older than many other places that would have strong pensions and lots of retirement.
No, it's a very good point, because for example in Senegal we know, if I go to the next one, I try now, sorry. So in Senegal there is no public pension, right? So for example, that can be also a reason why, or really, where is Senegal? Here, yeah. So
very cool. Another question actually is related with Ron's question is, Andy, just wait, sorry. We have some more questions for Lily and Bernardo. We don't know which year this is, right? So like Austria, I mean, we actually have seen like 1996, which is a huge, very thick, very high labor income for Austria in part because of the apprenticeship, but we don't see it here. So is it, better to add a year for next two country or not? I'm not sure about this. Because you said, oh, this is a country and there is no year, and some countries has many different years. What do you think? just think about that. I mean, this is a discussion for visualization to improve, right, visualization. And some countries have a very real, I mean, different shape, and right, by year. And you didn't indicate the year. You don't have you said, just this is countries between 2002 and 2016.
For many countries, you know, you can just access one. So, and then usually I then downloaded the one which was the most recent. And this is from 2000 and 2016. So that's true that there is 16 years difference, but I don't think it's too bad. So we didn't use any profiles from 1906, and obviously we can use this comparative way to visualize for countries having many years. Obviously, this would be another way to visualize and then see the differences. So I think it would be good.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought just adding year, I mean, indicating years.
Okay, like the country and but then it's
more. I mean, it's more complicated, right? So that's the whole purpose of visualization is to make it brief. But I don't know. I mean, think about that. Let's. Andy.
Thank you for the comment.
Yeah, Andy, do you want to say something?
Of course. Let's see. I wanted to say. So I wanted to know whether we can sort, your graph in different ways. You've got it sorted by size of the youth deficit. And so I'd like to be able to then sort by the old age deficit, for example, and see line countries up that way. Or sometimes it would be nice to do it alphabetically. So is there a way, do you have that in your program that you can sort it?
Yes, obviously you can sort it. You just need to program it that way. So this is already sorted. For example, the life cycle deficit is sorted according to when the surplus starts. That's how it's sorted. But we were making different graphs. For example, how long the surplus period lasts, and that can be also sorted. It can be sorted like that, or alphabetical. But alphabetical, it's hard to read because then it's like it goes like this. So this has a little bit an order. But obviously, in the code, you can just order it any way you would like, and then it will present it like this. So now it's ordered according to when the surplus period starts, and then on top of the graph or the figures, those countries start where the surplus period or the net giver period starts earlier and then goes down. So I hope.
Also want to know, can we put it on the NTA website? And could you give us guidance about how you would like to do that? So we have a data section now with visualizations from previous NTA conferences, but maybe that's not the best place to put them.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, we would be happy if you use it, and then I think the best would be that once the code is done and finalized, then you can have it, and then you can make your own graph too. I mean, especially if you know R, but it's not so. So I will comment, or we will comment the code, and then anyone can make their own graphs. This is also true for the age pyramid. So on the Agenta website, you already can find the R code for making these age pyramids, and you can already just choose whichever country you would like, and then you can already make these graphs. So this will be true also for these comparative figures. Yeah, so obviously we will try to make it as reproducible as possible, and obviously this is for something to be shared and used by others.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
So let me just say one, respond a bit to Ron. So these indicators are not Tableau based. This is I don't know, maybe it's written in R or something like that, but so that's just the way they come. And you can download the data. I didn't mention that, but there's a download button you can hit and download the data. It's not necessarily the most convenient way to download NTA data, because you kind of end up downloading one country at a time or something like that. You would be better off to go to the NTA website to do that, or send me an email and say, can you send me the NTA indicators for every country?
Okay, thank you. Right. Actually, I really love Gretchen's comment, a private comment to me. These are the really cool graphs. Sorry, Gretchen. So since the triangle graph by Andy and the arrow graph by Ron, these are the best graph she ever seen. So thank you. So, so how I love triangle graph because Andy made it. And Andy used it a lot, and the Berkeley team loves the arrow graph, the original arrow graphs, because they made it. So probably we'll use it a lot. Any other comments to improve the visualization or any questions?
Yeah, sorry, I have a comment. So, so this, I think the general idea of making these graphs was also to a little bit invite others to think about, because now there are many very good tools. Sorry, sorry. So just to make it a little fun, this was my son. He's in a really good mood playing with his dad. So so anyhow, so there are very good ways to do visualization and also interactive graphs. And I kind of have this feeling that NTA is a little behind, you know. So I think people would use the data more, or I don't know if this is if there is a motivation to do that, but you know, if you can, others can work on it, I think it will be great, because I think it's a great thing to have NTA. It's amazing to have so many countries. So maybe others can also join and think about how to make better figures accessible on the homepage or elsewhere, and work on this a little, because I think it would be great. But yes, so if anyone feels like it, you know, we can join forces, or I would be happy to also cooperate with others and come up with some new ideas. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Really say hi to your son. So any other comments, questions, suggestions? I don't see any raising hand. Okay.
I just say something really quick. So Andy, I can put this graphs by Lily on the NTA website on a page that it will be embedded and it will display automatically. It will be really light and quick. I think that could be a way. And also these graphs are really interesting. It made me think why, like, for example, remittance, if remittances really explain the deficit in Mexico and El Salvador, I think they're really great. They're puzzled, like they make me puzzled. Anyways, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. So we have the results for the best visualization award this year. Okay, it's a tie. So Andy, Lily, and Bernardo, you are the winners of this visualization award. No monetary award. Thank you very much. Okay, that closes this session, and we'll resume within 30 minutes for our NTTA session. Okay, thank you very much. You can stay if you want, or you can leave and come back. Okay.